To stay up to date, don't forget to like and subscribe.
I'm Mark, and this is my wife Penny. We live in Blackstone. We're here tonight to find out more about this frontier project and to oppose it. So,
I'm Rich Schledowitz, live here in Blackstone, with my wife Cinda.
And why are you here tonight?
To stop this nonsense.
My name is Irene Benjamin. I'm new to this area for our second year, going on our third year. And we're here because we're wanting to stop this project that we feel for the health for this group of people that live here and our children. We'd like to stop it to protect them.
Bonnie from Heritage. I'm totally against this project, and I wanted to hear anything I could find out that I don't already know, which there was a lot. So a lot of the things that were mentioned, the air pollution, the noise, the vibrations, the schools in the area, and our Heritage is 55 and older, so the old people also.
Chris Inslee, Kimberly Inslee, and we live right down the street in Blackstone here.
And what brought you out tonight?
The meeting and getting the awareness out to everybody about this project.
What are some of your concerns about the project?
I have many. I know all about what they're doing. And so,
well, I'm concerned,
big trucks.
I'm concerned about the health issues. That's my number one. This is, we have schools nearby. We have elderly people and retirement places nearby. I've moved here from Huntington Beach, and everybody asks me, why did you move from the beach, which is wonderful, and I say, because I love the hills, the clean air, the people, and I love this neighborhood. And so that's why I moved here, and it seems like I got sucker punched because nobody told me that this was going to happen, and all of the things that I adore and love, that I come to adore and love here, are going to be taken away from me.
My biggest concern is the amount of truck traffic that's going to be going by Blackstone and Heritage is going to be insane. They're underrepresenting all the data. It will be much bigger. Fourth quarter, volume triples.
My name is Steve Gedstad. I'm from Heritage.
And I'm Kimberly Gedstad, also from Heritage.
And what brought you out tonight?
Well, I'm the lead for the Heritage Citizens for EDH and coordinating with Blackstone Group and trying to put a stop to this project.
We're a package deal. So we're here to do whatever it takes to get this thing stopped. So we're looking forward to making real progress.
Thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it. My name is Chuck King. I'm the president of Blackstone Homeowners Association and president of Citizens in Support of El Dorado Hills. Thank you for coming.
And I'm Matt Taliaferro. I'm a resident here in Blackstone. I'm also the secretary for the Citizens in Support of El Dorado Hills, and I'm part of the standing committee or subcommittee for APAC on transportation.
So I would say this is probably our biggest meeting. This is, I think, our fourth town hall. And I think after tonight, we'll probably have somewhere around 600, maybe 700 people total that have come to our town halls, and we want you to know we appreciate that. There are people here tonight, though, that I would like to recognize for coming out to hear what we have to say and in part support as well. First, from the Area Planning Advisory Committee, we'll start with John Davey. John, if you stand up, let everybody see who you are. And he was a few rows back, but he's kind of the sneaky guy. Bob Williams. Bob, you here? Also from Area Planning Advisory. District 1, elected GOP Representative Kelly Nalavaya. From the CSP Board, President Noel Medich. Also from CSP Board, Heidi Hanneman. And also from the CSD Board, Steve Ferry. Where'd you go? There he is. And from the El Dorado County County Planning Commission, Andy Nevis. Corner, he's kind of shy. And over on the right, our volunteers. Over on the right is Nicole Black. If you guys have seen Nicole's signs, and very vocal on Nextdoor. Hi, Whitney. Whitney Worthington. If you listen to any of the meetings, Whitney's very vocal. Money bags. Christine Taliaferro. She's our donations coordinator. And Roberta. I don't know Roberta's last name, but she's from Heritage, and she's on crew with us now. And my mind is blank, and I don't mind admitting it. Susan, also from Heritage. If you work on our ground crew, the ground crew is organized by Krista Parent. Yay. And her husband in the corner is Rick Parent. And the toughest job of all, probably for Whitney, is controlling Marcus over here. Marcus is recording this, video recording it to put it on YouTube. So if anybody has any issues with that, please say so now and don't get in front of that camera. Also, we have Dr. Vanessa Walker with us as well, and she will be providing a presentation here in a few minutes after we're done here. Okay, so getting into this thing. We'll give you a timeline and then we'll go into where we're at. In 2017, El Dorado County Administrator solicited Amazon to bring business to Latrobe Road. They said, we've got up to 8 million, we've got room for up to 8 million square feet for you, and we've got some incentives we'll give you if you decide you want to come down here. In November of 21, Germany Properties, a developer for Amazon, signed a non-disclosure agreement with the county of El Dorado. In April of 22, Germany submitted a design review application, but that was determined to be incomplete and ended up submitting a conditional use permit application instead. And that permit was submitted in December of 22. In February of 23, a technical advisory committee and the developer started discussing the project requirements and mitigations, and they started kind of laying out exactly what this project was going to be, and we'll get into that in a little bit as to the specifics of what they say they're going to do. And in March of 23, citizens supported El Dorado Hills learned of it and learned that there was a tentative hearing date set for April 19th for the zoning administrator.
Okay. So March 15th of 2023, that's when Germany Property did their presentation to APAC. So this is the first time that there was really anything that was presented to the public about this project. April 19th, so a little over a month later, the planning director, Karen Garner, stated that she would be sending this project to the Planning Commission. So after receiving quite a bit of pushback, if you go back beginning of March, she said it was going to go to the zoning administrator. Now it's been moved to the Planning Commission.
So we count that as a win. And we count that as your win.
So according to the documentation that was submitted by the developer, this facility is going to be a fulfillment center. So what exactly is a fulfillment center? Does anybody have any ideas what a fulfillment center is? Just by a show of hands, you don't have to tell me. Okay, so one of the things a fulfillment center is not, it is not going to get your packages to your house faster. So all the fulfillment center does is it brings material that's been unpurchased, it stores it, and as soon as it's purchased, it begins its journey to your house. So what that means is tractor trailers go to this warehouse, they store it, then tractor trailers pick up that product once you purchase it, and they take it to another facility where it gets sorted and distributed and sent out. So that could be going back to the airport where it just came from to fly to someplace else in the state. So I think the important takeaway there is that no little blue vans are going to be driving around the community, and your coffee that you ordered last night is not going to get to your house any faster. So here's a kind of a layout of El Dorado Hills. You can see the business park on the left. Right here is the county line, and then that yellow blob right there is the proposed project area. Zooming in, you can see the planned development area, which has 2 buildings. We'll kind of get into that a little bit more on what those buildings are. And then this is what the project site looks like. So everything that is left of that seasonal drainage, and if you go to the next slide, that's the area that is going to be developed with these 2 structures that in total are about 4.8 million square feet. So some of the specifics about this development. And these are provided from the developer. So this is just, I think, their information that they're providing to the county and to the public from their perspective. So a couple key points here. 1,250 semi-trucks. And this is a 24/7 operation, so per day. So 1,250 semi-trucks per day. Nearly 900 parking stalls for tractor trailers. 155 loading docks. Nearly 3,000 parking spots. So think about that. You have 3,000 parking spots for employees, you have 900 parking spots for tractor trailers, and 155 loading docks. So this is a lot of work. According to them, in order to deal with this level of traffic, there would have to be multiple widenings to Latrobe Road to accommodate this level of work. And one of the things they also say is $10 to $23 million in tax revenue. Just kind of remember that. We'll touch on that more, but that's important as we get later into the presentation.
So one thing I want to point out there is the 1,500 new jobs, $20 to $25 an hour. So what this is going to cause, if this ever happens, in my opinion, is a migration. That $20 to $25 range is not by accident. The average salary for beginning level in El Dorado Hills is about $17 an hour. So 20 to 25 attracts those people away to this new project and leaves the local businesses looking for employees.
So how does this affect us all? So those 5,000, there's going to be a total of 5,000 trips. I mentioned 1,250. Again, these are developer numbers. 1,250 tractor trailers. The balance of those, up to 5,000, are going to be passenger vehicles. So all of those diesel trucks are going to be putting out into the atmosphere the particulate matter associated with their tailpipe, or stacks, if you will. And we'll be getting into that quite a bit later. Vanessa Walker is going to be talking more about that. We have obviously traffic congestion, light pollution, vibration, and then, like Chuck mentioned, jobs are going to pay a little bit more per hour than what a lot of the other entry-level jobs are in the area. So I think with that, I'm going to go to the next slide. So more bad news, unfortunately. We talked about the 1,250 plus tractor trailers. A lot of those are going to just, their primary path of travel, according to the traffic impact study that they sent, is going to be going up and down Latrobe and then going up and down Highway 50. Now we know that there's potential impacts to other roads. There's Carson Crossing where they could go. There's cutting through Latrobe. So as all of that backs up, all of the adjacent residential areas are going to get, you know, other traffic. Any traffic that's coming up Latrobe, they're going to hit it there at Royal Oaks at the south of this proposed development, and they're going to find any way they can to get around it. So all of our neighborhoods are going to be impacted with a lot more traffic. So this just isn't a Latrobe problem. And then when you think about everybody coming up that grade, all of these tractor trailers that have to downshift coming up that grade out of Folsom, That's going to slow things down for people getting off on Latrobe, which means access to the town center from neighboring communities is going to be choked off as well. So these are some of the ancillary negative impacts economically that we see.
And something that hasn't been discussed a lot, but has happened a lot with the Amazon projects, are semi-trucks waiting to unload. Some places you see horror stories about them just lined up forever and a day. And we're hoping that the parking that's installed in this, if this ever happens, which it's not, but if it ever happens, will mitigate some of that. But you know where these people are going to go while they're waiting in their trucks. They're going to go into Business Park, park in there. They're going to go up Royal Oaks into Blackstone. They're going to be parked on the side of the road all over the place. Talking about a square peg in a round hole. So the zoning for this area is research and development. So I'm going to read this to you because I like to get it right. But this is the zoning for the business park and the parcel that is in question. Research and development zone is intended to provide areas for the location of high technology, non-polluting manufacturing plants, research and development facilities, corporate and industrial offices, and support facilities in a rural or campus-like setting, such as a business park environment. Convenient how that works out that way, right? Kind of just like it is right now. So as we described to you in the last few slides, think back as to what you think this project would end up being zoned as I read you the industrial heavy, which I need reading glasses. Industrial heavy zone is applied to areas which may also be suitable for more intensive industrial uses, including manufacturing, assembly, fabrication and processing, bulk handling of storage, warehousing, and trucking. The uses associated with this district are likely to generate significant levels of truck traffic, noise, pollution, vibration, dust, fumes, odors, radiation, radioactivity, poisons, pesticides, herbicides, and other hazardous materials. Fire or explosion hazards or other undesirable conditions. A conditional use permit is required for uses having the potential to pose a safety hazard or produce particulate matter. Heavy industrial districts are unsuitable adjacent to residential districts and some commercial uses. So do you see where the argument is in this? This is not zoned for what they want to put in there. And that is a big part of our defense.
So I think a couple things to point out there was the pollution. Well, we talked about the particulate matter from all the trucks and being adjacent to all the residences. Also noise. Interestingly enough, in the developer's noise study, they said that the residential communities were too far away from the development to be considered sensitive receptors.
So the names, the players involved in this, yeah, we're not going to condemn anybody in this process. We're condemning the process. But so you know, and if you want to write emails, these are the names to look for when you look at the El Dorado County website. David Livingston is the Chief County Counsel. Tiffany Schmidt is the Interim Chief Administrative Officer. Kelly Garner is the Planning Director, and she's got a lot of emails already. Brianne Mobius left a year and a half ago as Deputy Counsel, and she is now working for Dermody. I think her employer is actually Hefner Law, but she's assigned to Dermody Properties at this time. District 1 Supervisor John Heidel, your District 2 Supervisor George Turnbu, District 3 Wendy Thomas, District 4 Lori Parlin, and District 5, which is Tahoe, Brook Lane.
So some important points, some potential violations of the code and ordinances. Environmental impact report 1982. So essentially what they're doing is they're using the EIR from 1982 for the business park, which interestingly enough, that parcel has been de-annexed from the business park, which begs the question, what truly is the applicability of it now that it's been de-annexed. So just keep that in mind. They're also using the 2004 EIR that underpinned the general code and the 2015 targeted update where their EIR was done. So those are they're using those, and we question whether that is valid under a true CEQA review. Their traffic study, their noise study, I mentioned the noise study. With regard to the traffic study, that 5,000 number that came from the developer, that was as stipulated by the developer. So that was not an independently determined number. There's an organization called the Institution of Transportation Engineers that has standards for trip generation. They didn't use that. They just used the number provided by the developer. So we see some issues and we question that. And then the 50-foot height limit. That is fundamentally what is, from the county's perspective, is what is putting this into a conditional use permit process. So we talked about the zoning. From the county's perspective, they're saying, hey, the zoning is R&D, we're good. And one of the buildings is 103 feet tall, that's over the 50 feet. So really, we just need to do what amounts to a glorified variance. So we're going to do a conditional use permit. So that.
So what this really comes down to is them trying to push this project through under R&D. If they can't make it fit under R&D, if they had to go to industrial heavy, they would have to do a whole lot of this stuff that we're talking about right now. But as long as they can fit it under the research and development, they don't have to do this stuff. Another thing that they did do is they did a traffic study. That traffic study was completed in May of 2020. I'm sure most of you know that you're at home trying to find something to watch that wasn't recorded, just like the rest of us. So how that justifies as a traffic study, we have no idea. In 2017, we already talked about the fact that they sent a letter inviting Amazon to come out here and gave them some, we'll call it fringe benefits if they were to do so, and they could build up to 8 million square feet. On January 1st of 2020, a bill known as AB 485 to that point was passed, and it was turned into Government Code Section 53083.1.11, small h. Basically what that says, well, you're going to read it because I can't read it.
Okay, I'll read it. I don't know if I can read it off this one either. So a local agency shall not sign a non-disclosure agreement regarding a warehouse distribution center within its jurisdiction as part of negotiations or in the contract for any economic development subsidy.
So, my interpretation is that they broke the law. So, oh, yeah, you're right. When did they sign the non-disclosure agreement was the question. And that was signed in 21, a year after this came into law. So, we're looking for legal interpretation, and we've got the requests out to the right people to get that interpretation, just to make sure it is exactly what I think it is. But if it is, then they did break the law, and we will move forward with that. But that's just one little piece to this puzzle. There's a lot going on with it. So recently, some of these slides are new because things change almost daily, and this is a new slide. Germany Properties has admitted there will be 0 retail sales from this location. So up till a couple of days ago, we were insistent that this was semi-truck traffic only, but there was always in the back of the county's minds that no, there's going to be some little blue vans. There's going to be some aspect of little blue vans coming out of this place that's going to create retail sales for El Dorado County. That is not the case. Germany has admitted it. It is 100% semi-truck, so there will be 0 retail sales coming out of this place.
So think about that, 4.8 million square feet of a facility that is not going to be generating any sales tax revenue. Zero sales tax revenue.
So what this comes down to in the long run for El Dorado County, our analysis and the analysis of a lot of people that are smarter than me, most of them actually, that we're really looking at about $1.2 million for El Dorado County General Fund after it's all said and done. And that'll be based off of land use fees or land use tax.
So if you see that first bullet, we talked about this earlier, it's $10 to $23 million is what their economic study showed, they're being the developers. That might be true from the perspective of tax revenue that's going to go all throughout the state and other places, but as far as what we're going to see here in El Dorado County, we're only going to see 1.2 million.
So something that was keenly picked up on is when these folks made their presentation to APAC in March, that's where they told us $10 to $23 million in the region. I don't think everybody picked up on the words region, or the word region, and the wide variation of 10 to 23 million. When we heard those numbers, we all looked at each other and went, huh? But the word region means a lot, because really what it means is most of the taxes are going everywhere else except El Dorado County. So where are we now? We're a lot of places and we're working hard. We formed an unincorporated association, and that's what we're operating under as Citizens in Support of El Dorado Hills. We've got an email address. We've got a website. We go door to door, passing out flyers. We're working on static sites. We've got petitions that are being signed, both online and in person, as you see today. We are over 8,000. We're up to, I think, about 8,300 as we meet tonight, which is phenomenal. Thank you. We're still collecting donations for the legal fund, and I'll talk about that a little bit more here in a few minutes. We've got targeted social media, so we're going straight to your Facebook. So if you're wondering how this is hitting your Facebook, it's because we wanted to hit your Facebook. And we can do that because we have very talented volunteers working for us. And we've got legal representation. So what we didn't say at the beginning is part of what Matt did right out the gate is he started trying to find lawyers for us. And being the persistent guy that he is, he started looking for cell phone numbers and personal contacts for impactful people. And he found a cell phone number to one of the top guys. What's his title?
Oh, he's the managing attorney for the National Sierra Club. He's basically the #2 guy at the Sierra Club on the national level.
So he got his number, his cell phone number, and called him. And the guy was so impressed that he was actually able to get a hold of him that he listened to him. By the end of the week, they wanted to be involved with us on this project. And they've offered to co-plaintiff with us. But the biggest part of that they gave us was avenues to attorneys that are good attorneys. And we were able to use that to locate an attorney that they recommended, and those people were so impressed with the case and thought it was so winnable that they offered to deeply discount their rate to be able to get the case, but had to check conflict. But once they checked their conflict, they had to conflict out because they had done work for El Dorado County on this in the past. So they...
Not this project, but they had just worked with El Dorado County. I just want to be clear on that.
On the general plan.
2004.
So they said, but you know what, we've got this guy that used to be a partner and he knows what he's doing. Matt once again went back to Sierra Club, says, how about this guy? And they said, yep, fantastic. So we got a hold of him, and Matt went through the case with him, and that guy was so into it that he dropped his rate from $850 an hour to $325 an hour to get the case. So that is our California Environmental Quality Act attorney. So he's working on all the environmental aspects of it. From there, We talked to Bob Williams over here at APAC, and Bob got us in touch with a local attorney that knows process inside and out. What we needed to work with our San Francisco attorney was somebody that knew the local area and knows who's who in the zoo, so to speak. And our local attorney, again, was so impressed and so confident that he could win on process law that he did the same thing, discounting his rate significantly to get the case as well. So now we've got a process attorney and a CEQA attorney, both working hand in hand, and they both are, I think they're trying to fight to see who can win the case first. But they're both very confident that we're going to win if it comes to court. So the other thing, the Matts, and the Chucks, and the Tom Foxes, who's in Germany, and I just really want everybody to think about Tom for a minute while he struggles through vacation. And Ellie, who's not here because she's on vacation in Hawaii. And no, I have every penny of your donation money accounted for, I promise you. I'm here. But we've been working on 501c4. We're working on pretty much everything you think of, but a big part of it is getting out and talking to the people of the county that run the county, quite literally, and are influential in the county and understand how the county works. Because 3 months ago, I had no idea. And I still really don't. But I have a lot of people, and they've all stood up tonight that are helping us understand. And anytime we have a question, they're there to answer it, to help us understand the process and get down this road as we need to.
So some important dates. I think I'll just, I'll hit some of the highlights and hit some of the wins. I can actually see this better than I can down there. So April 19th, if you go back to earlier, this was originally and tentatively scheduled to go to the zoning administrator on April 19th. I think in a large part to everybody's efforts here and beyond, they canceled that meeting. So that was significant. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. Another item that was significant was on April 13th at the Planning Commission, the Department of Transportation put together a staff report to bring back the widening of Latrobe Road between Investment and Clubview Golden Foothill. That's right here, the main entrance into Blackstone. So everything south of the main entrance into Blackstone is going to get widened. Well, what development has occurred over the last 5 years that would necessitate that getting widened? Does anybody know? That's right, there was none. That's why in 2016, 2020 timeframe, it was completely pulled out of the CIP and said, this is so far down the road, it's long term. We don't have the funding now. We're going to push it out into the future and we'll someday put it back into the CIP, but not today. This meeting, the County Department of Transportation was attempting to bring that back due to development in the business park. Well, we all know that that was Project Frontier. That was the development that had not yet occurred. So there were folks here that sent letters in making the point that, hey, this seems to be getting the cart before the horse. Fortunately, in that case, the county made the right decision and they pulled it off of the staff report before it even went to the Planning Commission.
So again, thank you. You guys are doing that.
So, and I think that I'm just going to pause. When Chuck says you guys are doing that, it takes each and every one of us to do their part. And no portion of this effort is bigger or smaller than the other part. It's just like your body. You can have a brain, but if you don't have feet to get you anywhere, you're not going anywhere. It's just a brain laying on the floor. Conversely, if you don't have a brain, the feet are just going to sit there and they're not going to move. So all parts of everything that we do is important. So don't forget that.
Important meetings. Board of Supervisors meeting this next Tuesday. So that little issue that we were talking about with the capital improvement plan is back on the agenda. But it's to remove the defunding of the project. So it doesn't get the project done, but it gets the money back in there to do it. And it's being packaged with 4 or 5 other things, which if you're not looking close, you may not even see it go through. So 12:45 at the Board of Supervisors chambers, we will be there, and we will make sure that they know. Go ahead, Kelly.
The agenda?
Yeah.
No. The agenda items is at the beginning of the meeting.
Oh,
Yeah, so we need to be there at 9 o'clock sharp.
See, this is one of those people leaving Chuck.
Yeah, so basically, open session, which we've been going to, thank you everybody, is at 1 o'clock. That's for any non-agenda items. It's just to air your concerns. When it's on the agenda, they open public comment to the agenda once they read the agenda, and usually I would suggest being there at 9 when they start.
Thank you.
What date's that? Which one?
Tuesday, May 2nd. Planning Commission, May 11th, 8:30, we'll be there next. No, you cannot. I'm just kidding you.
And the language we want to use when you go about an agenda item is you're asking for the agenda item to be pulled.
So if you cannot make the meeting, they all, well, I can't say all, but most of them have Zoom links where you can go to a Zoom link and watch and speak. And if you don't want to do that, you can certainly email them as well.
If you're going to email them, make sure to include the clerk of the board and tell them you want it on the public record. Yes.
Everybody get that?
No.
If you're going to email the board of supervisors, make sure to CC the clerk of the board and ask for it to be put on the public comment record.
Okay, so everything we're talking about right now, after we're done, I heard someone say we need to write all this stuff down. If you contact Krista, she will get you the information you need and will provide you with everything you need. She is our coordinator for that stuff.
In other words, we've written it down for you already.
So the next Planning Commission meeting is May 11th at 8:30 a.m. Next APAC is May 10th at 6:30 p.m. El Dorado Hills Town Council is May 8th at 6:30, and Zoning Administrator May 3rd at 3 p.m. All of this stuff is on, if you go to El Dorado County Legistar, you can find it there, or you can go to each one of their websites individually and see when their next meetings are.
There also we do have links on the citizens4edh.org webpage to the county calendar and the APAC. APAC does a good job of putting in all of the, posting all of the documents associated with the applicants' material.
Okay, so what's the future? As far as we're concerned, we're in this to win this fight and ensure our future. What we want to do is once we dispatch Project Frontier, we need to now look at what it is we need to do to make sure this doesn't happen to us again. So we won't stop when this thing goes down. We will have a big party, but we're not going to stop, just so you know. What can you do? You can spread the word. That's the thing we need the most. Please spread the word. Talk to a neighbor. Give them the website address, which we've got flyers over here and all kinds of stuff. We can give you little tchotchkes that have the website address on them. Volunteer to go work door to door with us if you can. We're working on getting booths set up down at Town Center at the concert series, Cars for Coffee, and all those things. We're working through that process to do that in a neighborly way with Town Center. Volunteer to go to the county meetings. We want to fill every one of those meeting rooms up every time they have a meeting. That's important. They need to see that. And they will tell you they want to see you there. That's how they measure your interest, is how many people are sitting there, how many people want to talk about it, how many people are on the Zoom link.
One thing I want to add is that when we go there, it's important to stay around to the end. I know we're all busy, but you've already made the commitment to go there. So if you stay there till the end of the public comment period or the end of the agenda item, then that shows that you're invested and you're not just there to parachute in, make a statement, and then boogie. So please, if you have the time and you can, Stick around, but most importantly, just be there.
And while we're there, before we finish this up, I want to say, if you make contact via email, if you see them on the streets, if you go to a meeting, be courteous, be respectful, but get the point across. We're not looking to have enemies. We're not looking to have lifelong battles with these people. They are all good people, or they wouldn't have got the jobs they've got to try to serve the public. And we have to remember that, even though we have a motion, we have to treat them with respect. And if you don't, they're just going to shut you off. They're going to discount you in a hot Texas second, and what you said, if they heard it, just goes out the other ear. So please, 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 that's been our policy and our goal since the beginning, is to do it respectfully, okay? All right, thank you. And yes, we do take donations. Money bags over there, as I said a while ago. She has pledge sheets, and we take either cash or checks, but we prefer checks for documentation. But we do need it. We're setting okay right now, but the problem with it is we do not know how much money we're going to need to fight this. We got our retainers paid, and if we got to give them a little bit more, we can give them a little bit more. But if it comes down to having to do our own studies, then we're going to have to pay for those. And when we need them, we need them. We don't need them 3 months from now. We need them today. So if you can donate, that's great. If you can't, we understand. There's lots of ways to help other than donating. And I promise you, we won't ask unless we need it. And when we get to where we don't need it, we won't ask until we need it again, and then we'll ask again. But right now, we could use a little bit more. But like I said, only what you can. If you do donate, let's talk about petitions and such. If you go online to sign the online petition, which is Say No to Project Frontier, which that has right at 6,000 signatures on it right now. But if you do go on there, change.org is going to ask you to donate to the cause. If you donate on that website, you're giving that money to change.org, not to Say No to Project Frontier. So I want you to understand that ahead of time, and I'm not going to tell you not to donate to them because they've done a good job for us. It hasn't cost us a penny so far, and if you want to give them some money, that's up to you. But I just want you to know that if you do, it's not going to this project. Wet signatures rock. Anytime you have a question, or whether you can, a choice whether you can use a wet signature or an online signature, we'll take the paper signature every last time. What do we do with your donation? 100% legal fees. 100%. We have not spent $1 on any of the stuff you see over here. Printing, paper, ink, nothing. It's all been done through donations, and some of those people are right here in the room. And just like Nicole over here in the corner, I mean, people are finding ways to help, and that is helping us to keep the money that we do get for legal fees. And thank every one of you. Appreciate it. I don't like saying this because I don't think, I don't like a dollar amount, but some people do. So just so you know, the question that Christy gets a lot is, how much is enough? How much is appropriate? I don't want to look cheap. Those are some of the comments she gets. And I get that, you know, but at the same time, I will tell you that we've got donations from $25 to $3,000. I figured it up the other day just so I could say this right now. The average donations have been $400. So that gives you a range, but believe me, I would rather have you work, go out and volunteer for us all day long than give $1. That's what I want right now. We got to get the word out because the strength is in the people. Okay, so a couple of things that these volunteers have made sure I remember. When you're talking to people, let's try to get this to Folsom. Let's try to get it to Shingle Springs. Cameron Park, Bass Lake Road. Bass Lake Road is, they don't know how much they're being affected, but they are. Let's try to spread it out. Let's get to Georgetown and those areas. If you know people, put the word out for us, please. Okay? Not just here. Let's make it grow. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. She wanted me to mention on the pledge sheets, if you can't for some reason leave a donation tonight, that's great, no problem, we understand. But if you want to, and you want to have her contact you, she has sheets up there, pledge sheets up there, it's got her contact information on it. You can fill one of those out. We will call you. We will come to you to get the pledge. You don't have to do anything. That way you know it's not going to get lost in the mail and all that neat stuff, okay? Marcus, I know you got something else you want to say.
I don't need the mic, it's fine. I have a voice that booms. So if you're not on the Facebook discussion page, go there, join it. There's an events tab. We have all of the dates in that events tab. Just click that you're going, whether or not you're going. The Zoom links are in there, everything in there. The benefit to clicking I'm going is that Facebook will send you a push notification reminder. So you're done. You don't have to remember all these dates. You'll get the reminder and you just click on the little push notification. It'll take you to the Zoom link. You can join the Zoom.
That's a whole lot of awesome. And I see someone that I did not see earlier, so I want to apologize. Melissa Quaid is in the back. Wave your hand. She runs our Facebook page for us. Okay, does anybody have any questions about Project Frontier?
I just want to thank you guys for running this fight for us. And also, I'd like to know, have you reached out to Jeff Bezos or anybody at Amazon to let them know a town full of their customers does not want this? Because I'd like to hear a public statement from them about this, if possible.
So Kelly is going to show a documentary. You want to give some information on that? And that'll give you all the information you need to know about Mr. Bezos.
On next Thursday, and if demand is high enough, I'll do it on another day also. My organization is sponsoring to everyone. This is not, I promise, nothing political, no partisan. We welcome you all. But we are doing a showing of a documentary called The Amazon Empire. And the reason I decided it was important is because we want to let our county know that we can do better. And it's very telling on Jeff Bezos. I don't want to give away too much. It is on the Facebook page. I should have brought some flyers so you can see me if you're not on Facebook. We do have limited space for the first night that we're doing it. But we really need to understand why this is not good for the environment, why this is not good for our community, but why we can also do better in the kind of businesses we bring to El Dorado County and what we represent. And really, most importantly, protecting our small businesses, because you will learn quite a bit about their strategy on how they plan on taking out most of the small businesses.
And just to add a little bit onto that, there's actually movements at the national level that have to do with essentially monopolization and how they are taking, like Kelly said, taking away from the small businesses and sort of monopolizing everything under the guise of supporting small businesses.
The horror stories on Google are just endless about Amazon, but let's make one thing clear still. We don't know for sure that this is Amazon, okay? We know, but we don't know. Nobody has told us that it's Amazon. We've got documents that suggest it's Amazon, but again, we don't know for sure, and my point to that is the county needs to fess up, and they need to start with a little bit of transparency, and maybe they can repair a little bit of the issue that we got going on right now with some good communication. So while we all know it's Amazon, we haven't been told that it's Amazon, right? That's my point.
We haven't been corrected either.
And we have not been corrected, that is very true. I purposely talk to everybody about it being Amazon when I talk to them, and not one person has ever corrected me. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on who is for it, who's against it, because I don't know. I could say the same thing about Planning Commission. I could tell you what I think about each person, but I don't think that's fair because my opinion doesn't really matter. But what you need to know is we are doing our best to communicate with each of them to convey our concerns and talk to them about the processes and things that need to be in place and that we need to ensure occur, and that we're doing everything we can. I will tell you, as a whole, I have confidence that when the time comes, they will do the right thing. We need to understand, so far, the only person that has had to make a decision and do something is Karen Garner, and she did, in the end, make the right decision. Next is going to be the Planning Commission, and I have full faith that they will do the right thing. But even then, there is an opportunity for this to get pushed in appeal to Board of Supervisors, and they also may have to go through the same process. And I have full faith, as long as we keep doing what we're doing, that they're going to make the right decision. But I promise you, if they don't, we're not done. And you know what that means.
Sorry, I have two questions. One is you said there were two buildings and you were going to discuss what was in the two buildings that are being planned. And I don't think that was said here. Okay, can I just ask my other question? No. And then my other question is, I live in Folsom. I'm here because my daughter goes to John Adams Academy. How, as a Sacramento County resident, should I be directing my activism when I do not vote for anybody in this county because I don't live here?
Does it affect you?
Yes.
So you could, there was a comment there, you could write a letter to the Chamber of Commerce, email to them.
California?
El Dorado Hills.
Oh.
You could still attend Planning Commission, Board of Supervisors. It still affects you. Just because you're not a voting resident doesn't mean that you don't have a voice.
Yeah, I would definitely come. I just didn't want to be like overstepping and they're like, oh, the Folsoms are coming and you know what I mean?
I hope they do.
So the first question was about the nature of these two facilities, or these two buildings. So total of 4.8 million square feet. One facility, building one, I wish we could, well, at any rate, building one has a footprint of about 11 football fields. So that's how big the one building is. That's the footprint, not the square footage, the footprint. And it's going to be 103.5 feet tall. So that facility is referred to, at least in the traffic study, as being a sort fulfillment center. So what that means is a sort fulfillment center is everything from your razor blades, your deodorant, small things that can be easily sorted by robots. And so these robots go and fetch things and bring them back to the people. They get loaded into little yellow crates, and they zoom out, and they get boxed up, and they make their way out. The other facility, which is going to be a facility that's about 19 football fields in size, so that's the footprint. Again, that's not the square footage, but the footprint is about 19 football fields. That's going to be behind it, and that is a non-sort facility. So if you order patio furniture, a barbecue, or something that's kind of large and awkward, that's the type of material and such that are going to be warehoused there. So again, these are two massive facilities. And just to put this into perspective, 4.8 million square feet is 500,000 square feet smaller than the Boeing manufacturing plant in Everett, Washington. So where they manufacture 747s is smaller.
Okay, so I understand that there was a 1.5 million square foot distribution center that was proposed in Rancho Cordova, and the community of Rancho Cordova spoke out against it, and the municipality said, no, we don't want you, and now they're getting sued So what happens?
Okay, I can answer that for you. Okay, so the difference is, can't find me, can you? Here I am. And that's a first. Nobody can find me, really. The difference is, Rancho Cordova signed a contract with Dermody or Amazon, so they were contractually bound. Afterwards, they heard the horror stories and wanted to back out, and Amazon said, no, you're not backing out. We have a contract, and if you violate the contract, we'll sue you. So, yes, they mean business, but as we understand it, this county is not there. There are no binding contracts.
So, at the last APAC meeting, I got the impression that what was being sent to the Planning Commission was only review of the special permit for the building height. Are they going to do all of it, because you were saying about us doing analyses and everything, are they going to do any of the traffic, environmental, pollution studies? Are they going to do any of that?
Yeah, I can answer that. So to the best of our knowledge, these studies are being performed, by the county. We haven't seen any of those come back. So the county's role in a very general sense is sort of to corroborate what the developer is saying, and they're going through that process. Now, as to the first part of your question about, is the Planning Commission or whomever reviews this only going to be focused on the height component? That's speculation. We're going to have to wait for the staff report to come out. So another important reason to keep track of these meetings is on that registrar, they're going to have the agenda item, and in the agenda item, we'll have the staff report, and it'll lay out exactly what they're going to be asking the Planning Commission to take a vote on.
On the zoning. So it is currently zoned as R&D. It should be
Correct.
Industrial heavy. Are we sure they're trying to cram it in through R&D, or are they trying to rezone, or are they trying to get a conditional use permit to be able to use something for a different zoning intention?
So it is currently zoned residential and development, R&D, or research and development, not residential, research and development. It's currently zoned that way. And in the county's interpretation, this facility meets that zoning designation. So they are not trying to do a rezone or anything like that. It meets that zoning designation. And the way that they're getting there is by looking at the matrix or looking at the table of allowed uses. An allowed use in research and development is wholesale storage and distribution. So they're keying on that, saying, oh, it's an allowed use, therefore it fits. But what they've done is they've completely jumped over that very first part and said, what is the use, or what is this facility doing, and what is the zoning this facility needs to go into, and then what are the allowed uses for that type of zoning. So they've skipped right over it.
We're fighting on that point for sure.
Yes.
Okay. Also, you mentioned having a process attorney and a different kind of attorney, CEQA attorney. Is that the environmental? Okay, just making sure on that. And then the other thing I just wanted to say, I just want to encourage to just keep talking to people and spreading the word, because there's misinformation going around, and people have heard the little bits of good news and they assume it's done. And we can't let that happen. I was talking with someone last night about the fact that I was coming to this and inviting them. They live in Blackstone in the red area on Vanessa's map there. And they were like, but it was squashed, it ended. And I'm like, no, it didn't. So just keep being noisy and keep letting people know what's going on, because we don't want to lose traction, and we got to keep momentum going up instead of letting people fall back.
Can I get an amen?
Amen. And to that end, Christy was out doing door-to-door the other day, getting petitions signed, and I'm not going to say where, but in Blackstone. She knocked on a door, and the gentleman answered the door and said, I work for Dermody, and you might as well just forget it. This is a done deal. I leased this house. I'm here for a year to oversee this project. So that's how real they think it is.
Whoa. What's the overall timeline on when this actually goes to the Planning Commission for approvals for the project itself?
So the county has not agendized this yet. They have not said when it's going to go to the Planning Commission. That's why we need to be aware of the Planning Commission dates, and then 2-3 weeks ahead of that, be looking at the start looking at the agenda, and as soon as that agenda is posted, take a look at that.
I just wondering how far in advance should I have to tell us it's going to be on the agenda?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
It's 2 business weeks.
Two business weeks, I think. So, you know, I would start looking at 3 weeks out just to be on the safe side, and you know, from there. But we'll have a couple weeks to review what the county staff, the planning department staff, is going to be asking the planning commission to make a decision on.
Hi. I just wanted to bring up a couple of points that I haven't heard brought up today. I understand there are a lot of homeowners here, but there are also a lot of renters in the area. Now, one of the things that we're not really talking about in these meetings is the actual human impact of the people that would be working in those areas and where are they going to live. So we have, you know, a 24-hour project going back and forth on those roads. We have people that are going to be tired. That's more traffic, which means more accidents. So I really want to just bring that up. It's one of the most brutal jobs that people can work. There is an absolute trove of information about the injuries with Amazon and the people that work there. Those are your children and your neighbors that would end up working there. So I just wanted to bring that up because where are those people going to be living and who are they?
In terms of what the acceptable use of that land would be, if Amazon were to come back and say, we're going to scale back by 50% and the number of trucks would be reduced by 50%, would that be okay? That's not a question for me to answer, that's a question for everybody to answer. I can't, personally, no, but there's a lot of people that have an opinion on that.
They want to build fulfillment centers that they've already designed and engineered. So they don't want to spend any money, they just build what they already have.
But if they get their foot in the door, who says they can't go further down the road, right? Once they get their nose under the camel gets their nose under the tent, they can take over the tent.
What I'm wondering is if the Amazon fulfillment center doesn't go in and let's say a neighborhood of 900 houses go in, is the impact going to be the same, less? I don't know.
So folks, offhand, the land due south of this property is owned by the El Dorado Union High School District. It's 215 acres. It is meant to have the next Oak Ridge High School built on it one day because the Oak Ridge High School is in a real problem considering our parking, number of kids and all that stuff. So do we really want a high school that's right next door to Amazon? And so the question is, where are the board members from El Dorado Union High School District? They should be here tonight and they should certainly be in attendance at all the other meetings that are coming up. They have as much to lose in this as every one of us. Thank you.
And I just wanted to answer your question about the comparison of 900 houses to this facility. Unfortunately, we haven't, or I haven't looked at that. But I think your point is well taken, which is this is going to be developed for something. So we all need to be thinking about what.
Well, that kind of goes to the point, be careful what you wish for because it may come true. You may get something worse. Is it possible? I don't know.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, at this point, compromise isn't on our agenda. Our agenda is say no to Project Frontier. After we get past that, then we'll concentrate on what the future holds. Hold it down if you would, folks.
We have one question, please. We've heard about health effects, transportation and all that, but I haven't heard anything about the potential effects on property value in the neighborhood.
Well, if you ask a realtor, which there's lots of them in here, raise your hands if you're a realtor. They'll be able to give you their speculation, but honestly, I haven't studied any of that. I'm not going anywhere, so while I don't want my property value to go down, it's not something I've concerned myself with, but I would imagine it's probably going to go down a little bit. All right, we're getting out of control, so we're going to end it. If you guys want to talk to us, come on up and we'll try to answer the rest of your questions. Thank you all for coming. Please find one of those 4 signs and do something to help, okay? Thank you all.
To learn more about citizens in support of El Dorado Hills, our fight against Project Frontier, and to donate to the legal fund, go to citizensforedh.org or find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.